Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the Electric Batcast. My name's Cale.
I'm Rachel.
And in this episode, we're going to get into what is it like to win a Twippie?
Why we don't do unboxing first impressions.
And Rachel has 2 months of earnings reports. It's another special episode of the Electric Batcast.
Today's episode of the Electric Batcast is brought to you by Stern Pinball's Insider Connected. Head to sternpinball.com to sign up today. Marco Specialties, everything pinball, pinball parts, and more at marcopinball.com. And Game Room Goodies. Check out GameRoomGoodies.com for new and used pinball machines, arcade games, jukeboxes, pool tables, and more. And now, the Sherlock and Watson of pinball, Rachel Bess and Cale Hernandez.
Hey, what's happening? We're here.
We are here.
We're back. We've been gone for a little bit. We've been just crazy busy.
Extremely busy.
We've been winning Twippies. We've been doing it up.
Fixing games, playing games.
I'm always adjusting my microphone.
Having good times. Sorting tokens.
Having a great time. You know what we do here. First of all, thank you so much to the sponsors of the show. Game Room Goodies. That's where we get all of our hardware from.
Yes.
Hardware meaning games.
Big, heavy hardware.
And Marco Specialties. We always order all of our parts from Marco Specialties. Rubbers, flipper rebuilds.
You name it.
We've even bought playfields from them before.
That's true.
But when we redid our Nitro Ground Shaker.
That's right.
They hooked us up with a very cool playfield. And you can get all that great stuff, too. And at checkout at Marco Specialties, if you type in EBA150, what happens?
You get your shipping for free on any order of $150 or more.
Man, I love that. And I'm sure everybody else does, too. And, of course, Stern Pinballs, Insider Connected. They have a lot of great stuff. Yesterday was Pi Day, I believe.
Yes, it was.
I got the Pi Day badge.
Me too.
Did you get it?
Yes, I did.
We got it on John Wick. We just installed, man, this stuff looks very cool. We installed the John Wick expression lighting speakers.
The speaker, yeah.
The speaker lighting. And the John Wick topper.
That hourglass has like real sand in it. That was cool.
Man, that thing is super dope.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to go back to the arcade and play that some more and get some more of these badges. They have a bunch of limited badges. They have seasonal badges. And Ty was showing me his... I don't.
It looked like a CVS receipt of badges.
I would like to know if somebody has more... badges than Ty.
Yeah,
they need release the data, people. Let's get these people competing.
He's trying to 100% it, and we're going to talk more about that the Insider Connected stuff when we talk about the earnings report. It is relevant, so this is interesting.
2 months.
2 months of earnings report.
Earnings reports. That's very, very exciting. Also. What's coming up at the bat? What do we have going on?
Well, tomorrow, Sunday the 16th, we have the Dungeons & Dragons launch party. And that's going to be a max match play tournament with an amazing race finals. We're going to have gelatinous cube jello shots. It's going to be awesome. So that is
now hold
at 1 p.m.
Gelatinous cube jello shots.
Yes.
What do these things look like?
They look like gelatinous cubes. They're light blue cubes, and they have candy bones and eyeballs in them.
Man, I'll tell you what. Nobody does D&D pinball like you.
Dave, it's my thing.
I think they made this game for you.
I think they might have.
Also, we have new games. Our latest one was D&D.
Yes.
And I think we're getting the new spooky machine soon.
Yeah, Evil Dead should be there, I think, later this week.
Yeah.
So.
And we're hearing a lot of good things about that. We're going to get on that. And then we're going to get into the mailbag.
Oh, yeah.
This is the first Electric Batcast where we have callers.
That's right.
We ask people to record some messages and send them to us. Keep us under a minute. And if you want to do that too, you can submit it via email to Electric Batcast.
electricbatarcade@gmail.com.
There you go. You got it right. I'm a little off today. And you can also drop it in our Discord. If you want to join our Discord, go to the electricbatarcade.com. click on the podcast tab or link, and then you'll have a way to join our Discord. It's a lot of fun. We have what
350, 400 people in there. Lots of conversations.
Talking about all kind of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's active. It's a good time.
And then they talk about pinball repair, high scores. They even get into some rumors and games they wish that people would make, and it's a lot of fun. So let's answer a couple of questions.
Let's do it.
Then we'll get into the earnings report.
All right.
And then we'll take some calls.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. First, we have from Jim M. via email.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your message, Jim. Just finished watching the state finals you guys streamed last weekend. The commentary was fantastic. That's Serge. That has to be Serge. Serge is our resident commentary guy.
Best in the business.
Best, man. Gold standard.
He knows all the rules. He knows
photographic memory.
He's just a wealth of knowledge and about our specific machines, which makes it even more fun for us. We know which ones you have to tap on the left to make the feed exactly how you want it.
And it's so much fun to watch. And if you want to watch those, you can head to our Twitch channel where they're stored, and I'll eventually have them on our YouTube channel.
Cool.
I need to do that soon and for all of you streamers, I just noticed on Twitch they are lowering the amount of storage you have for past broadcasts, uploads, and highlights. They're limiting that. Mr. Bezos is limiting that to 100 hours.
He's cutting you off.
Yeah, so if any of you Twitch folks were storing stuff on there, just be cognizant of that. Go into the back end and download stuff. Put it on YouTube if you want to archive it and all that good stuff. Anyway, back to Jim. I got into a rat hole there. So his question is, Classic Bally versus Classic Stern. A nice little game for us.
Oh, okay.
And a great way to open up the podcast.
Open up the podcast with a game.
Okay, which do you prefer? So this is Classic Bally versus Classic Stern, and we enjoy both of them. We enjoy Stern electronic games and the Classic Ballies. First of all, bowling theme.
Okay.
Strikes and Spares versus Memory Lane.
Strikes and Spares.
I'm going to have to say Strikes and Spares also, because we know it so well. We own one.
It's a beautiful game. It's got nice, simple rules. I like it. It's great to look at.
There's a lot of yellow.
A lot of yellow.
If you like yellow, that's your game. Memory Lane's a great game too, but we just prefer Strikes and Spares. We would like to own both, though.
For sure.
Underwater theme.
Okay.
Fathom versus Trident.
I'm going to go Fathom on this. I like Fathom.
And I'm going to go Trident. And when you say Fathom, you mean the original Fathom, not the one by the company that went out of business.
Right. I don't
even remember their name.
Haggis.
Oh, Haggis, yeah. Okay, so we're split on that one.
Okay.
And that's okay.
That's fair.
We can still hang out. We can have differences of opinions. It's not a problem. Not a problem at all. This is my favorite. B-level wide body.
Okay.
Future Spa or Flight 2000?
This is easy. Flight 2000 is a far, far superior game to Future Spa. One of my least favorite games of all time with that gap on the...
Right. I agree. You're right. But the one caveat, Future Spa has much better art.
Much better.
If you
got that rainbow lenticular. I don't even know what you would call it. What is that? Like a reflector thing going on with that back glass?
I don't know, like holographic
something.
I don't know what it is, but it's good, and that artwork is second to none. If you could put the Future Spa artwork on Flight 2000, you'd have a hit.
Man, wouldn't you have loved to have been in the art room when, we're going to do one called Future Spa. Make some stuff that you think that might look like. All right, let's go. Let's drop some acid or drop
whatever it takes. Some mushrooms, just bring it on. Let's microdose.
Something was going on in that room.
Yeah. So there we go. We got Strikes and Spares. We were split on Fathom and Trident, which is fine. And we both love some Flight 2000.
That's right.
Yeah, good deal. Thank you so much for your questions. And Jim actually wrote some more stuff, but it had to do with like some products that are coming out and all that stuff, and we might talk about that in the future. Thank you so much, Jim. Cheers. Cheers to Jim.
One of my favorite things about both those classic Bally's and the classic Stearns is that they share the same board set, and that's why we have so many of them.
Yes.
Because we can just, they're easy to work on, and you can swap boards in and out. They make the Alltech Ultimate boards, is what we generally put in those. And
you can get those from Marco Specialties.
That's right.
And how much do they cost?
Well, I mean, it depends on which board you're looking at, but like 100 to 200, depending on.
And that would be a perfect time to use the EBA 150 at checkout.
Yeah, grab yourself one.
Right on. And cheers, Jim. Thank you so much for reaching out. We're always here if you want to quiz us some more. Maybe this could be his thing, his regular thing.
Yeah.
He's like this or that.
Yeah.
This or that with Jim.
Okay.
You know what? I totally forgot. I can't believe I glossed over this, but can we talk about the Twippies for a second?
Yeah,
I totally forgot about it. We won 2 Twippies. If you haven't been paying attention to the pinball world and what's going on,
there was a little bit of hubbub on the internet about it.
It was great. It was great. So we won for Best Location Southwest.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody. And we won for Podcast of the Year.
This thing that we're doing right now.
Best. So we're the undefeated best pinball podcasters. Wouldn't you say?
I would guess so. We've been in the running one year, and we got it one year.
We took down the heavyweight champ. Here we are. We've been working out, and that's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
And we were really caught off guard.
Yeah, it shocked us as much as it shocked you.
It really did. But thank you so much. Thank you so much to Colin, to Jamie, for teaming up and bringing breathing some new life into the Twippies. And I think this combo, the team from Wormhole and Colin and the Kineticists and This Week in Pinball, isn't that his other site?
Yes.
The combination here, it's just going to get better and better and better. I was actually talking to Jamie yesterday on the phone, and they're already thinking about how to make it better for next year, because you learn by doing, and they did. They had a couple of hiccups, and they also had some high moments, some great skits, and you had the weatherman in there.
that was my favorite part, was Eric Stone pointing at the different arcades. That was great.
Yeah, but it turned out to be a fantastic show and an absolutely memorable show. Also, thank you so much to Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph, Aaron Winnick.
Aaron Winnick, yeah. And they all did a fantastic job. And anybody else at the Wormhole who is behind the scenes, I'm sure we'll get to know more about that. And you guys did a great job. And thank you so much to the people, the fans who voted. Mm-hmm. And, okay, now we can get back into the questions.
All right.
We're excited. I can't believe we don't have a Twippie here. We said we were going to bring it, but we left it at the arcade.
We have been.
People like seeing it out there and playing with it. This is the next question is from Evolving Scott via Discord.
Okay.
I appreciate this is hard to answer, but I'm hoping you can think through the data. And do you say data or data?
Data.
Data. Who's the guy on Star Trek?
Data.
Okay, data. So this is data.
Data.
I'm hoping you can think through the data and give a good gauge for an answer and maybe even numerical guess at percentage of change. So the question is, when you add new machines, do you see an equivalent uplift in total spend on site, or do you see the spend redistributed across machines? I.e., if you have 10 machines and take 1,000 pounds, that's not weight, it's money. I'll say dollars. So
10 machines weighs a lot more than 1,000 pounds.
I'll convert it to dollars just by saying dollars, not the actual conversion, because I don't want to have to Google stuff anyway. So if you have 10 machines and take $1,000, do you add a machine, making it 11 machines, and then see a further $100 spend, or does the $1,000 spend just spread across more machines? I'm only just starting, but have 3 pins on location. I'm about to add 2 more. Should I expect 66% more takings or just each machine getting less takings with roughly the same total spend? As I said, I appreciate it's sort of an impossible to answer, but your views are the most valid as far as I'm concerned. Thanks in advance. Thank you so much. That's a great question.
That is a
and I know you have
fantastic
a fantastic answer.
This is something that you and I talk about a lot in the back room. So I think you're looking at a couple of different things. You want to get a critical mass of machines that gets people to make the spot where your machines are a destination instead of an afterthought. It's like, oh, I want to go get pizza at Cale's Pizza Palace because I know there's 7 machines there,
right?
And we're going to have a good time instead of going to some other not Pizza Palace, right? So there's that part of it. You want to make sure that there's enough machines that more and more people are going to be showing up. It's not necessarily you've got the same 10 people that are just going to spend $2 more because there's 2 more machines.
Right.
You ultimately are going to, and it's a long game. You want the people to come more and more to your spot. It also depends on the machines. Are they different enough, right? If you have 5 identical machines, that's cool, that's great, but it may be better to have a mix in there because then you've got, you're appealing to people who like different types of games.
Right.
So when you're talking about mixing up a classic, a mid, 90s era, and then some moderns, that will all help. So I don't think right off the bat, I don't think you're going to see from 10 games to 11, you're not just going to see that same amount increase. But over time, if you have that mix interesting enough, of course it goes without saying that all these have to be working and you have to, because people will get turned off if they show up and
and
half
the machines will get turned off.
The machines will get turned off, right? Then it won't work at all. So as long as you keep that going, I think over time you're going to build up that bigger player base or customer base, however you are looking at it, and you're going to see that number increase more than just the 66%. But I don't think you're going to see an immediate 66% gain from going from 3 to 5 machines.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you have experienced all of that.
I have experienced all that.
You started, how many machines did you start with in the bat?
For the first few months of Electric Bat, we had 13 pinball machines.
So right off the rip, you had 13. So you could hold a pretty big tournament.
Yeah, we had
like 20 people. I don't know.
30 people, more. And then pretty shortly thereafter, we doubled in size, or we added another 20-something machines. We were at 30 machines, and then after a year or two, we doubled again. So now we're at like 65 machines, and each time we doubled in size, we probably have seen a doubling in player base and in earnings. So there is... Part of that's a linear effect, but part of it is also like we have the capacity because you and I are doing a lot of other things too. We're actively building our community and building that base in other ways too. So it's not just if you build it, they will come.
Certainly. Marketing plays a big part.
Marketing, which you are the
goat.
The goat.
Yeah.
The goat marketer.
Cool. That was a fantastic answer to a seemingly...
I think that's a great question. It's something that people ask in roundabout ways. Everybody is trying to figure out what the secret sauce is.
Yeah.
How do I make more money? Where do I put 2 machines here and 3 machines here? Do I put 5 machines in the same place? Where am I going to get
selling hot dogs? Yeah, all that stuff.
What's the most effective way to get to cash capturing?
Yeah, fantastic question, Evolving Scott, and fantastic answer to an ostensibly complicated question. Cool, very good. Now here's Pixel Pete again.
Pixel Pete.
Not Pistol Pete. I called him Pistol Pete last time.
That's different.
Only one time. I mentioned him 3 times, and one time I called him Pistol Pete, and that's a place I used to stop on the way to Vegas. That was a lot of fun. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was
It's a place we used to eat pizza for kids' parties when we were young out here. Pistol Pete's was our Chuck E. Cheese showbiz pizza thing.
We didn't have that. We just had showbiz, but back in New Orleans, you know. So Pixel Pete, hey, Rachel and Cale. From talking to pinball manufacturers, when do they know when they have a high sales potential pinball machine? Is it in development or not until sales come in? It varies.
I would say all of those things, right? In development, they know that it's got high potential, or they wouldn't be developing it.
Right.
So we know lots of stuff has been in the works and then gotten the axe because they're like, well, for one reason or another, this is not going to work out. So in development, yes, right, you're shooting for that. But then
also sometimes they will bring. You know, I don't think Stern or Jersey Jack does this, but some of the more boutique, I've heard of them actually bringing people in to look at something they're working on and say, hey, what do you guys think about this?
Focus grouping it.
Because sometimes when you're building a machine, you're in such a bubble. You might think everything you're doing is wonderful. And you have to bring, and I know Deep Root actually did this. And some of our friends like Crystal got invited, some more personalities, pinball personalities got invited to see it and give their opinions on it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's how they learn.
Well, they maybe should have invited him a little sooner. That example didn't quite work out. But then once it hits the sales, right, like right out of the box. But if you remember Godzilla, people were whining and moaning about the color green before it really hit the streets and people had a chance to play it. So I wouldn't think that the first impressions are really what they're banking on. I think you're looking at the first few weeks of sales, once they start to hit the floor, what the reaction is there and how those sales keep coming in. For sure. After that. And then, of course, you know, when you still can't keep it in stock years later, they're certain.
But it also seems like with Stern and the distributors, they know when Keith Elwin releases a machine, it's going to... it has built-in sales.
Has built-in sales.
Yeah. You get the pre-orders.
You've got the reputation, and you want to build that as a company. You need people working for you that have track records of very high percentage of success.
Right. And on the other side of the coin, and we know this from talking to people at Stern, they did not expect Metallica Remastered to explode like it did.
That's right. They did not see that coming.
I mean, they immediately sold out of LEs, and distributors are asking for more of those premiums. And we've seen it with the coin drop. People love this game.
They really, really do. And that's so interesting for a game that has been out, you know, in a similar form for years and years and years, to have that much excitement about, you know, just the remastered version of it.
And we are very much looking forward to future remasters.
Yeah, I think this is going to open the gate for them to really free up some funding to justify to the accounting department that this is a good idea, and they're going to get to do more of them. So some of the stuff that we enjoy from years ago are going to get a fresh face. Yeah,
good deal. Hope we answered your question. Pixel Pete, thank you for sending in another question, and you know where we are. Ask us some more. This is from Pat Marino via email. Our friend Pat, he said, hi. Would love to see a new segment in your podcast, Unboxing First Impressions, when setting up new pins, spooky Sterns, JJPs, etc., what problems you run into, switch adjustments, bad code, etc., or are they perfect out of the box? My premium Godzilla was plug and play. And, for example, and give a monthly review on stability, repairs in first month. I pretty much think you're the only podcast that doesn't shill that much, maybe on Stearns a little.
We're not chilling. We're not chilling for any of it. This is our real world experience.
Right. And
we have no reason to lie.
And we love Stern machines. We love everything Stern does. And before we did this podcast or owned an arcade, we used to work very closely with Stern, so we've always had a great relationship with them, and we love their products. We don't shill, we just love it.
Yeah.
What do you call that?
Honest
super
opinion.
fans.
Super fans. Okay.
and dishonest opinions. Yeah. His second. Well, let's hit
let's
that
talk
first.
about that.
So we kind of do that. Like if it's not like a segment, but we always talk about when we open up a machine, and nobody wants to see us open up a Stern because we do it differently than anybody else.
We do it with a box cutter in as few seconds as possible.
Yeah, we throw that thing up. That would be a boring video. But anyway, I think we do all this stuff. We open up the machines. I mean, we've always said what a nightmare it is operating a Spooky like straight off the rip, because they have some of the buggiest code in the business.
No pun intended.
Yeah, and they're getting better and better. But you know, we talk about all of these things. It's just spread out. I mean, I think that this is what our podcast is about.
Absolutely, and that's not even a we like or don't like. We obviously still like Spookies. We keep putting them in the arcade. We're excited to put Evil Dead out. It's just some machines are much easier to operate than others, and luckily we're experienced enough to be able to handle some of those curveballs. But yeah, I think we do this already.
We do that. So there's your answer. We do it. Just stay tuned.
Let's mention Dungeons and Dragons. That game was played for the first few days it was on the floor. I think the first 72 hours we had it, there was somebody on the game continuously from 6 in the morning when we opened until after 2 a.m. when we closed, and then the staff was playing it. So it was getting continuous over 20 hours a day play.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, that's road testing beyond road testing. And it was that way for the first 3 days before there was ever just like a gap. I did not have to take the glass off that game until we had it for about, I think, a week or two, and I had one stuck ball. And I think in the entire time that we've had it, so we've had it for just over a month, I've taken the glass off twice.
Yes.
2 stuck balls.
That is unheard of with any pinball machine.
Yeah.
That is kudos to Stern for that. Yeah. He's got another question. Were you done with that part?
I'm done with that part.
Okay. And then Pat Marino would also like, how often do you replace plastic coil flipper sleeves? Do you wait until they start sticking up, or do you just replace them every 1,000 plays? Love the podcast. Go easy on JJPs. They do make great games. LOL. Was that a joke? Or why is he laughing about that?
Yeah, why is he laughing?
They do make great games. Ha Jersey Jack's great. We love the folks out there. Thanks, Pat. Thank you for your question, Pat, and thank you for being a consistent listener with the coil sleeves.
We do not change anything preemptively.
We don't change any parts on a schedule.
No.
We're under the hood of these machines so many times. You look at them, you go, that needs to be replaced.
That's starting to feel like there's some slop in the flipper, so let's rebuild it. John Schoppel keeps track of whenever he rebuilds a flipper, he will write down the number of plays on the coil sleeve. Or not the coil sleeve, the coil stop. With the fine point Sharpie. He'll put the date and the number of plays, so that way we build up an idea, at least of the games that Schoppel does the rebuilds on, of how long it generally may take. But that's just kind of data for our information. We don't usually we don't ever actually say, oh, this game has X thousand number of plays since we've changed it, so let's do it again. We wait for there to be some sign of where there's 65 games on the floor. We would be plus all of the other things we have to do. That doesn't make sense.
Sure.
And we're lucky enough that we're there all the time, and players will let us know real quick if they detect the slightest bit of something could use improvement, and we're happy for them to let us know that,
for sure,
because it means that we don't have to open up every machine all the time and test it. We our players do that for us.
Yeah. And if you are operating an arcade, I think one of the best things we've done is start a Discord, because the regulars join it, and there's a channel in Discord with arcade issues, and they're able to just like, it's not like they have to run us down in the arcade and stop us. They're just like, or we might be in the office,
Yeah.
and they're like, hey, the creature from the Black Lagoon right flipper is sticking up sometimes, but not all the time.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it might not be something you need to get on right now, but we know, and they love it when I like, we'll pop out of the office as soon as they send the message, and they're like, oh, that's so funny. You guys are paying attention. Yeah, absolutely. We want these games to run properly.
Coin Jam and Playboy. Walk out, fix it.
Yeah.
Right? We also have the little piece of paper for the people that are not into Discord. Multiple ways for people to let us know something needs help.
Yep. Good deal. Thank you so much. And that was, I lost the page. That was Pat Marino.
His second question.
Our buddy Pat Marino. Let's move on to LI Pinball Society Mike. I think that must be Long Island Pinball Society Mike.
What if it's Little Italy Pinball Society?
That'd be cooler.
Or okay, what's the
All right, LI Pinball Society Mike. Thank you so much for your question. Ooh, I really like this one. You haven't seen this one yet. You're gonna dig it, because we're both going to have fantastic opinions, per usual, on this great question. If you were starting today and were going to route 2 games, one modern, Spike 2 or equivalent era, one older, which would they be? The only stipulation is that the modern game can't be Godzilla, Jaws, or Deadpool. Those are all great choices.
Yeah.
I just feel like those are easy choices, and also pretty much every location by me has one of those. I ask because I would like to start a small route this year. I do have an older game in mind, but curious to see your thoughts. Hint, mine is roller games, but feel free to tell me if it's a bad idea. We have roller games and we love it.
Yeah.
And the fans love it.
So
Roller games. Roller games. Go for the wall.
can I choose Dungeons and Dragons?
You can do whatever you want. This is your time to shine. Go with it.
Okay, well, I would choose D&D, but I think that may conflict with the spirit of the question, since that is a new and very popular game. But the reason that I choose it, D&D is a fantastic game for depth. There's a lot of different ways you can play it. There's some strategy, lots of different strategies. So it's a more complex game. And then I would choose an older game. Roller games is perfect for that.
And he already owns it.
And he already owns it. So, yes, I support your roller games decision. I would choose, from our collection, I would choose 8-Ball. And it's not even 8-Ball Deluxe. It's regular old 8-Ball, because that game is mean.
Yeah.
It's fast. And people want to play it again and again and again to try and get revenge.
And put it on, like, we have ours on 5-Ball for 50 cents or
50
cents.
cents.
Man, that's a deal. And that keeps people in there playing it. The upkeep is simple. Yeah. That might be the best answer, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Okay, what you got?
I'm going to say, for my modern one, which he says is Spike 2 or equivalent.
Okay.
I'm going to go with James Bond.
Oh, okay.
James Bond. And for my second game, a redemption machine.
Oh, that's real smart.
Well, he
didn't specify.
He didn't specify. It just says one older machine.
You found a loophole.
And like we have an older redemption machine. The reason being, first of all, I think the redemption machine is going to keep you in business.
Yes.
They make a lot of money.
They do make a lot of money.
But also, that combo, a pinball machine, a redemption machine, people are going to watch, pinball is not necessarily as intuitive as like a video game or a redemption
Certainly
machine.
Not.
And people might be scared to approach it. I'm going to put $1 in this. And
it's big, it's loud, it has lights. People are going to look at me while I flail around and try and figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure. And there's still people out there that don't know what a pinball machine is. For example, I was playing D&D a couple of months ago, and this guy walks up next to me and starts and coins up Deadpool.
Okay.
And I'm playing. Did I say D&D? I meant Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Did I say Jurassic Park?
No, you said D&D.
Okay, yeah.
I was wondering how you were playing it a couple months ago, but
So I'm playing Jurassic Park, and this young guy comes up next to me, coins up Deadpool, coins it up, hits the flashing action button to start his game, looks around, pulls back the plunger, and launches the ball, and watches it bing bong bang bang, and then just go down the drain. And he was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And he does it again.
he thinks he's playing pachinko.
He does. And this was like a college age kid, right? And so at that point, I let my ball drain. And I go, hey man, let me show you how to play this. And so I was like, okay, after you plunge this ball, and I showed him beforehand, check out these buttons on the side of the cabinet. These are your flipper buttons. The right one operates the right flipper, and the left one operates the left flipper. And he was like, "Oh my God, this is much better. This is a true story."
Oh no!
And so on his third ball, he actually hits it a couple of times, and the smile comes on his face, and he realizes like, "Whoa, there's much,
something here.
There's much more to this." And then so I pulled out my keys, opened up the coin door, and gave him a couple of credits. I was like, "Now play it like that." And so, and that's so people. I think if there's a game that's not a pinball machine, it's a little bit easier to understand. It allows people to watch other folks play pinball and like go, oh, I see. Now I want to try that. I can control the ball. I can do this and that. And if you don't want to mess around with a redemption machine, I'm telling you, these things are good and these things make money. I think all arcades should have at least one. What also works is a shooter, like a gun game. And a great option is the machine we have now, which is the Big Buck Hunter.
Yes.
The reason this thing is great, now, before that, we had a gigantic Aliens shooter machine with like these machine guns, and that thing was amazing, and it made money. It made great money every month, but it took up the space of 2 pinball machines.
And is intimidating to operate because it's got some kind of older computing that's very specific to the game.
Right.
The guns are very expensive. And
hard to work on.
If you're going to be somewhere where there's going to be kids that are going to be jerking them around and dropping them, that's going to be, it can get labor intensive and cash intensive.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This Big Buck Hunter game, this new thing, it's smaller. It takes up the space of 1 pinball machine or 1 arcade cabinet, and people love it because it has so many. It's not just hunting deer. There's a zombie adventure. There's Walking Dead. There's Terminator 2 or just Terminator in general from the Terminator universe. There's also like monster hunting games. This thing's great. And if you want to take it to another level, you can take it online. You pay like a subscription fee and compare high scores of people all over the nation, maybe the world. I don't know. And that's a great choice. So I think if you
that's a really good answer, and you've made me embarrassed about my answer that it wasn't as good as your answer.
You should not feel like that
because so I take my answer back and say, or if you have room for 3, do 3, do a classic, a modern, and a redemption. I don't include the redemption. We have one called Suck It Up. Instead of a claw, it's got like a little vacuum suction cup thing.
Right.
I don't include that on the earnings report because it's on a separate spreadsheet and I just don't. But if I did, almost every month it would be the top earner.
Oh yeah.
So
certainly. People love that thing. Cool. Thank you so much. LI Pinball Society. Mike, I hope we answered your questions. If not, drop into the Discord and let's have a conversation. Here's a good question. For the Batcast, that's us, from Frisco Pinball. What features or improvements are you hoping to see in new Stern pinball machines powered by the Spike 3 system? As operators, what would make the experience better? You know what would make the experience better? If we don't even notice it. If it's just more powerful, if it's just adding like more stability, more features, more lights. As an operator, you don't even want to notice there's a change, and I think that's what we're going to see with this.
I want to see something that makes sure that Insider Connected is always online. Every once in a while, it'll drop out. Not often, but you just that's never a good feeling when you're like, oh, I'm having a great game, I forgot to log in.
Right.
And you go to log in, and it's like,
And we solved a lot of those issues with a more robust internet hub, right?
Yeah, you did that.
Right, the wireless, very robust wireless system with rack mount equipment that solved a lot of those issues.
It did.
But I think and I don't know for sure, but I think what the issue is, the Spike 2 was never meant to be something to go online. They really, they
have the dongle. If it was intended, then it would be integrated into the...
Yeah, but they pulled it off, and it's awesome, and people absolutely love it.
Yeah, I guess it's a proof of concept, right? Before you invest in creating a board set.
Sure.
With that, and I don't know that it's going to be integrated, but I would just imagine moving forward that would be something that they'd be looking at.
Yeah, and we're excited for it. The rumor is we're going to see Spike 3 in the next game, which might debut in a month or two.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So that'll be.
I'm ready for that.
We're so ready for it. Yeah,
I'm gonna open it up and look around.
Yeah, right on. Thank you so much, Frisco Pinball. Good deal. Here's another question from our good friend in Texas, Mike Flanagan.
Oh, Poison Girl.
Yep, that's right. Batcast question: for your games, do you use rubber, silicone, or Titans on your games? As an operator, I love super bands for longevity and ease of cleaning, but as a player, I prefer real rubber. That's his first question. We'll tackle that. First thing I want to do is clarify. I know this can be confusing because so many different companies have their brands of pinball rubbers, but you basically have three types, right? You have the natural rubber.
Right, and that's like the classic red flipper rubber.
Mostly red or black, and I've seen some yellows and blues, but for the most part, those are the red and black traditional flipper rubbers.
Yeah.
And that's natural rubber. It's not like 100%
or black and
natural.
white if you're talking about the rings.
Right, it's some type of compound, but it's like a natural rubber. And then you have the silicone, which are
Titans.
Those and that is Titans. Yeah, that's the point. They are real stretchy and they're easy to put on your flippers.
They're a pleasure to work with.
They're a pleasure to work with, but they just don't last. We've seen that they don't last for us. And then your third option, you mentioned super bands. Those are made out of polyurethane. Those last longer than any of the other options. Sometimes can be harder to install on your flippers because they don't stretch very much.
Right.
But Tony from Rec Bar in Louisville, he taught me a little trick that I still use to this day. Take a zip tie.
Yeah.
And don't connect it. And so when you're putting on a super band, put one end on the fat end, and of course you're going to have your flipper already installed in the game. Put the fat end, put the end of the super band on the fat end of your flipper bat. Loop the zip tie through it so you have something to grab, and then pull that over the skinny end. So,
okay. So you don't have to fit the super band and your fingertip.
Right. Man, that hurts.
It does hurt.
Right? And so you do that.
I always tell you can you come do this?
And then once you have it mostly installed, you can pull out the zip tie.
Because you haven't connected it.
You haven't connected it, and then you just push the other end down. So it's a nice little tip I learned IRL from Tony at Rec Bar, and I still use it today. Thanks, Tony, if you're listening.
So those three all have very different feels. And I think I would say the majority of pinball players prefer the feel of natural rubber.
100%.
If you have a route that is kind of far away and you're not servicing as often, then it does definitely make sense to have super bands because
100%.
You know what I prefer more than having no rubbers on the flipper is rubbers on the flipper. So super bands they're not going to snap. They're always going to be there. And so and also if you're in if it's not just a bunch of tournament players that are going to have an opinion about this, back to Cale's Pizza Palace, super bands are going to be fine. I would not necessarily put super bands on something like a slingshot, because that really affects the play of that slingshot a lot. It really drastically reduces the throw of that. But we do put super bands on very difficult places to get to on Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Like with post rubbers, post sleeves.
Yeah.
We love super bands.
Yes, post sleeves, we put them everywhere. Like Black Knight, Sword of Rage, those post sleeves get hammered, and we put super band post sleeves on, and that has saved us a lot of taking apart
100%.
and replacing those.
Those are the most durable.
And the silicone ones, we have those. I think we have some on TNA.
Yep.
We have them on some games. So we use a mix of all of those. For the most part, we use natural rubber.
Yeah, for the flippers.
For the flippers, yes.
And when I used to work at Marco Specialties, I had a couple of operators that would call me, and these are not arcade operators. They would have like one or two machines here and there at pizza places,
movie theaters,
laundromats. They loved super bands, and they would call in and have me create kits for them. So we'd create a kit for like Aerosmith, AC/DC.
So every ring in that game would be polyurethane.
Right. Because they last the longest. They don't want to have to drive across town.
Cool colors too.
Yep, to change a flipper rubber that broke in 2 weeks.
So I guess
that does happen.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of it just depends on what your use is, what your use model is, which one makes the most sense.
Right. Second question, also from Mike Flanagan. Does a game have to pull its own weight earnings-wise before you move it out to swap with something different? For instance, we love Jackpot. It's one of the greatest competition games out there, but to a casual player, it stinks.
Yes.
No recognizable IP, and it can be brutally punishing. That's all true.
And brutally punishing to watch. People plunge over and over and over.
Right, for the playfield validation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is, today, we're moving around games in the arcade, and we're moving because it's much easier for us to stream the games that are in the big room. And I am so sick of watching Jackpot on streams that was the first one I said, we are moving this out of the streaming. This is not going to be on stream for a long time.
Okay, so back to his question. Does a game have to pull its own weight earnings-wise before you move it out to swap for something different?
This is another really great, complex question. I mean, it's a straightforward question. The answer is a little bit more complicated, because I believe that I've been shown to be correct, that you get more overall coin drop by having a fantastic mix of games. Your classic games aren't going, for the most part, to out-earn your modern games, but people will come into the arcade and play longer. More types of players will come into the arcade if you have that full mix. So no, I don't rely on strikes and spares to make. I don't expect it to make as much money as Metallica or Jaws. It's not going to, but the arcade overall makes more money than it would without those there.
Interesting.
So I think it's always important to keep them. If you are lucky enough to have the space to have a very diverse lineup, I think you absolutely should.
Right. They don't all have to be top earners.
No. The low earners are still really just think about what you go around and play. You, Cale, or you listener. Do you just go and play all of the modern games, or do you mix it up? Are you happy when you go into an arcade and you see like, oh, these are games that I don't see everywhere else?
Right.
I think that's really important.
Yeah. Fantastic. And Mike's third and final question, finally. Tournaments are such a big draw earnings-wise, but do you worry about tournament oversaturation? How much is too much? Part of the desirability of our tournaments is that they are special occasion sort of things, bi-weekly or monthly. Does having too many tournaments too often result in people, including the operator and tournament directors, getting burned out? An additional aspect is we are friends with most of the other operators around town and don't want to siphon away players from tournaments they might be running or want to run.
Oh, that's another great question.
Right?
So the first part of that, I'm going to answer the last part of his question. We're lucky enough that Tracy Lindbergh is extremely organized, and she has been keeping a WordPress site of all of the tournaments anywhere in the Valley. I think John Choppel runs it now. But we have some dedicated players with organizational skills that keep a calendar, and we also have a Google Calendar that we share between all of the tournament directors in the Valley. So we don't step on each other's toes.
Right.
And there's tournaments. You can play a tournament in the Phoenix area every night of the week. I think if there's 30 days in a month, there's probably 32 tournaments.
Okay.
So organize with you. It helps that you're already friends with these people. So get together and just create a Google Calendar. It's super simple.
Right.
And
you don't need a website.
Yeah, you don't need all that.
Google Calendar's free and share it amongst the local TDs.
Yeah, you got that. At 1 or 2 a month, you're nowhere near tournament fatigue. In my opinion.
Right.
We see players. There are players that play 20 tournaments a month.
Yeah. At monthly and bi-weekly, there shouldn't be any fatigue. If there is, and we've talked about this before, it might be the length of the tournament.
Yeah.
And
the format.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be at a bunch of a tournament every week that's 8 hours long.
Right.
So that's a great point.
Yeah.
Keep it shorter and come in, have fun, go home.
Yeah.
Do it, repeat.
I think it feels like to me the sweet spot is 3 hours.
I would say between 2 and 3 hours is the sweet spot. Yeah. Right. So keep that in mind, and especially if you've got newer players, like brand new players, possibly even less than that. It may depend on how experienced overall your player base is. If they're used to doing these slogs of tournaments, but to get new people into the hobby, you need to keep them a little bit shorter than that. So figure out a format that works. Max match play can be great for that, or just adjusting your match play overall, just group match play, less rounds.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much, Mike. We enjoy your questions. Right now, let's get into the earnings report.
Let's do it.
And then we'll take some calls. And what's special about this earnings report, this is the second time you've done 2 months in a row.
Yeah.
And this is great.
Yeah, so you get a direct comparison.
You get it, and I'm ready. I'm going to be quiet and listen. Go.
All right, so this is January's. In 10th place, I have them all on this note card right here.
Very cool.
In 10th place, Medieval Madness. In 9th place, Black Knight Sword of Rage.
Great game.
8th place, Batman 66.
Another banger.
7th place, Jaws. 6th place, Big Buck Reloaded.
Okay. That's a video game.
That's a video game.
Because there is a Big Buck pinball machine.
Right. We don't have it.
Right.
Yeah. We have Big Game. Similar. Similar theme.
Right.
5th place, Judge Dredd. And that was the first month that was on the floor, so that got some good play. 4th place, X-Men. 3rd place, Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
2nd place, Godzilla. 1st place, Metallica Remastered.
Right.
So that shot right up to the top, over Godzilla.
What month is that for?
This is January's earnings. And some notes about this is midway through the month, we also put Adam's Family on the floor.
Okay.
So Adam, our friend Adam, suspected that Adam's Family may be near the top. Well, it wasn't out there for the full month. It did not even make the top 10. So now we can move on to February. Still in 10th place, Medieval Madness. So this we know is due to one Supervan.
Right.
He, I think, has a Medieval Madness budget that he spends every day.
Yeah.
And the earnings on Medieval Madness are they're separated. They're $50 difference between the two.
He was in the arcade yesterday teaching some of the younger guys how to play Medieval Madness.
That's so cool.
It was fun. I was working on John Wick, installing the topper and all that stuff while he was doing that. It was really great. Because
he was giving tips and tricks.
Yeah, I mean, who knows it better than a guy who plays it every single day?
He knows it better than like Brian Eddy,
Mr. Eddy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he only plays that game
and Adam's Family.
Right?
Okay, 9th place, Batman 66. 8th place, John Wick made it on. What happened?
They dropped
last month.
Just like we prayed for it, and Stern dropped some more
limited contracts,
and I'll be damned, it worked.
It shot the earnings up
like clockwork.
Yeah, like 25% at least.
Yeah,
of increase in that. Just like it really. We're not wrong when we say that this works. I have data.
Right.
All right. Falling to 7th place this month. I can't do a Casey Kasem voice, but we
were listening to Casey Kasem this morning.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That used to be a quick tangent. Yep. When I was a little kid, I had my Get in Shape Girl radio and would listen to Casey Kasem I think it was Saturday morning. And I would just lay down and listen. I just wanted to hear like the rankings of all of those things, and it just kind of reminds me like. And now you're doing it. Yes, now I'm the Casey Kasem.
Who knew?
Rachel's top 10. So,
ladies
here we are.
and gentlemen,
7th
Michael
place.
McDonald Pinball.
7th place is Pulp Fiction. Still steady at number 6.
Yeah.
Big Buck.
Okay.
In 5th place, Iron Maiden, and this is due to another superfan who has recently started coming to the arcade very regularly and is now there, I would say, 12 hours a day.
He's there so much he asked us for a job.
Yeah. We couldn't possibly give him a job because he's paying for me to have a job.
Right.
By being
we got to keep him pumping the quarters in. But he started out by only playing Iron Maiden.
And he was seriously playing it for at least 6 hours a day.
Right. And I was like, man, we have all these other great games. And it took him a while, but he finally decided while he's there, he's like, oh, you guys are having a pinball tournament? I want to play in it. And this is the first pinball tournament he's ever played, and he did it when all of the hotshot pro players were in town for SPF. So that was his introduction to pinball tournaments. He's playing with some top 100 people, like a bunch of them.
Many, like top 20 people were there.
Right. But he stuck with it.
Yeah.
He had a great time, and now he tries to join whichever tournament we have, and most importantly, he's playing other games.
Right.
Spooky Looney Tunes is one of his favorites now. He doesn't like Andromeda. I tried to turn him on to Andromeda, but I did turn him on to Joker Poker.
Oh, I heard you explaining the rules to him and him saying like, oh, I did the thing. Now this makes so much more sense.
Right. So he's branching out.
Excellent.
Yep.
4th place, still X-Men. In 3rd place, Godzilla. 2nd place, Metallica.
And drum roll, ladies and gentlemen.
Number 1,
Rachel Bess's top 10.
D&D.
Of course.
So here's the thing.
I've never seen... There were lines for this game.
Like, for consistent lines, this game went out on Valentine's Day, so it only had half the month. It had 14 days to earn.
Right.
It blew away 2nd place. In our current reigning champion for the most dollars in 1 month is Elton John. This game in 2 weeks very nearly beat the Elton John 4 weeks record.
Wow.
So this game has serious potential. It's a fantastic earner. Did you notice what was not on Rachel's Top 10, the earnings report for February?
Galactic Tank Force?
Well, that is not even in the arcade. So I'm glad you noticed that it wasn't in the top 10. Addams Family was not in the top 10.
Yes, because people think Addams Family, right? That's many people's Grail game.
It's the one everyone loves to remember, including me.
And, you would think, just getting into this hobby, you'd think, oh, that's going to be the big earner. But
no, sir. So that's a cautionary tale for the people that want to go to the Pinside top 10, top 20 games. Like, these are the games I need for my arcade.
Right.
That probably is not the case. I had Addams Family at the house, and you always were asking, like, why don't we put this on the floor? This seems like an obvious earner.
It's a no-brainer, right?
It's famous. It's well-loved. It's
the
classic.
Best-selling pinball machine of all time.
It was in 22nd place this month. I looked just so I would have that information. So, I mean, it earns fine. It's a good earner, right? That's still the top third of earners. But the data has spoken.
Yep. And there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for Rachel Kasem's Top 10 Earning Pinball Machines at the Electric Bat Arcade. Right now we have some callers on the line.
Oh, well, let's not keep them holding.
And this is the first time we've done this. If you want to send in your voice recordings, you can record it on your phone. It's an amazing technology we have nowadays. They all have fantastic microphones and compression built in with the software and all that stuff. And you can just make a voice recording. Please keep it under 1 minute. And you can email it to us at electricbatarcade@gmail.com. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Or just drop it in the Discord. And on the line right now, I think we have Gutterghoul. Let's check it out.
Hey, Rachel and Cale. Gutterghoul here with a question for the Batcast. With the announcement of that D&D themed tournament, I was wondering what other avenues you can have for tournament alternatives. Not necessarily match play, but something like that D&D themed golf style tournament, maybe, the Amazing Race style tournaments. What other theming or gaming strategies can you implement into your arcade to, liven up the regular rigmarole of normal tournaments?
Great question.
That is a great question. And what he's talking about the D&D themed tournament is not our D&D machine, but rather an RPG style tournament that I'm creating using pinball machines as the mechanism to build your character, your RPG character. And so that's coming up. I think we're going to start doing that maybe a week from Wednesday, start building up some stuff. But these are tournaments that are not for Whopper points. They are for fun. And that allows you to have some extra creative control over how you're rolling it.
Yep.
I think it's a great idea to have a mix of the tournaments for points and then just throwing in some cool things. And there are a lot of, there's like pinballing. We haven't done that one specifically yet, but Chewy did a cool one that was team based, where it was you had three player teams and each player played either the first, second, or third ball. And that was cool because that was like co-op.
God, that was fun. I forgot about that. We have to get Chewy to do that again.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring that back. I mean, gosh, there's whatever you want to do. We did with Chewy's Bats Night Out. We did Split Flipper. Yeah, split flipper's great.
Now that you mention it, I mean, I totally forgot that team play where you have 3-player teams and one person does the first ball, one the second, and one the third. That was so cool because you were really thinking about strategy, like who's your finisher, who's your anchor guy, who's great on their ball one.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. We needed to do that again.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see who else is on the line. I think we have Wiley here, east of the Rockies. You're on the air, Wiley.
Hey, Rachel. Hey, Cale. What
That's
I want
us.
to know is, let's say a wealthy investor came along and gave you guys, say, $10 million. How would you spend it? Would you buy as many pinball machines as possible? Would you renovate the existing electric bat space? Or would you move to a hip location on the right near ASU on the main drag? I'd also like to note that I asked John Schoppel this same question, and he had a cool response. He said that he would put all the money into tournament prize pools to get as many people playing pinball as possible. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. Well, what would you do with, say, $10 million?
Thank you so much, Wiley. I tell you what, if I had $10 million, I'd play 2 pinball machines at the same time. What do you think?
You could do that with $2. Oh, nice reference. John Schoppel really would give 100% of the $10 million to prize pools.
And that is the coolest answer.
That's definitely, he's got the best answer. I would do some renovations. Building that prize pool seems like a good... What would you do?
I would go on permanent vacation. I would buy a boat.
We live in Arizona. There are very limited... You could put that in the canal.
You're assuming I would be in Arizona. I would be traveling around the world in my cool boat.
Okay.
No, but realistically, I would, just some slight modifications. I love our space and the feel of our space. It's in if you haven't been to Electric Bat Arcade, it is in like a 50, 60-year-old strip mall.
Yeah. And
it just has a cool vibe that you cannot get with a new location.
No.
It's just wild, and I love it. But I'll do like minor upgrades. Like a new bathroom or two. Upgrade the bar. But as far what's are you thinking about something? What's so funny?
Well, I think we are trying to do those things right now, actually.
Oh yeah, right. But it would be a whole heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, if we had a bank account that could support it.
Right. Do a little palm greasing to some politicians.
Absolutely. Okay, I thought about it. Here's what I would actually do in addition to those things, because $10 million is a lot of money. We could do multiple things. I would pay John Schoppel and Chris Bliznick from Firebird Pinball, an incredible local tech, to teach classes to all of the people that come in every day and say, "Hey, I want to follow you around and do what you're doing.
Yeah.
I want you to teach me how to do this."
Right.
We have no time to be teaching people. I mean, that's a very, very time-consuming and energy-consuming process. But people want to learn, and they should be able to learn, and it's kind of a hard thing to do.
Right.
So we would pay people so that they could learn how to do it, and then once they became proficient, I mean, I can pay people for a long time with $10 million.
Right.
Then they can work for us and run the arcade.
100.
That's when we get in your boat.
There you go.
That's the path to.
We'll just show up for a Tuesday tournament.
Yeah, we'll show up.
pull up in the yacht.
Yeah, maybe we could pay Faye or someone to run them.
No, that's really great. And about education and about pinball repair, that's very great. And there's a lot of good resources online. But that would be cool to boost it up with like in-person classes, and that would be recorded, for archival reasons on YouTube.
And get folks some hands-on, solder some stuff.
Yeah, right on.
Do we call this segment Art, Bells, and Chimes?
Oh, I think we do. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. All right, so we have another question right here. Are you ready for this one? I don't know who this is, so this is going to be a surprise.
Okay.
All right, caller, you're online.
Hello, Bats. This is Pinball Hans.
Yes.
In Southern California. And my question this time is how to grow a pinball league. Starting my 4th season of a good league at a solid brewery, and can't seem to get over the 10-12 threshold. We have mostly repeat players, and would love to expand it to like 20 to 30. So any suggestions you have, I would certainly appreciate, as you guys are king and queen of the league. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Pinball Hans, great friend of ours.
Yeah.
A wonderful person.
Yes.
How can he build this league up?
The thing that we talked about earlier, keeping it at a nice time length, keeping it not too long will make it more approachable for a newer player. I think consistency is key. You and I do not take any Tuesdays off. There is no break between seasons.
Right.
League this last year, I think, was on Christmas, or it was either Christmas or Christmas Eve,
and that's
and
just
New Year's Eve.
That's a known thing with business, with marketing. That's just human psychology. That people like a regular schedule. It's built into our DNA. And that works, whether you're streaming on Twitch, whatever you're doing, people, are creatures of habit.
They want to know when you don't want to have to think. There's that extra step. Is it tonight? Is it not tonight? Do I have to look it up? I don't feel like doing that. Never mind. I'm going to go out to dinner with my friend. So even if you don't think anyone will show up on whatever night that is, assuming the place that you're at is open, always keep it consistent.
Keep it consistent. Make sure it doesn't go too long.
Yeah.
We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
Good length.
Good length.
Make it fun. Make sure that you don't tolerate jackasses.
Right.
If somebody is starts jumping around, slamming on the machines, let them know that they can choose to be cool or choose to be elsewhere.
Right. Go to Colorado.
Go to Colorado. Go. What if they're already in Colorado? Go to some other state. Go somewhere else.
Yeah. So I think that's basically it. You want to make it fun. Make sure it's not too long. Be consistent. We like every week. We've built it like that. You've always been like no matter what, we're having it on this certain day every single week, and that people are programmed. They know what's going on. I'm not going to make any plans. This is what we're doing.
This is what we do on Tuesday nights.
This is what we're doing. And offer cool prizes.
Prizes help.
That's really helped us out a lot. And it doesn't even have to be like pinball related things. I don't know where Hans's tournament is, but if they have food.
Yeah, a 24-inch pizza.
Gift certificates for the food, all that stuff. Yeah, people love, even the smallest prize people love.
Something that they can a tangible object that represents their win. Right? Something that they can look at on the shelf. I did that. Something for show and tell. Yeah, good deal. Cool. Well, we do have a bunch of other questions, but I like to save that for the next episode. So if you sent something in and you haven't heard anything, don't worry. We're going to get to you. But we have a lot to do today. You might plan a pinball tournament. Well, I think that started 36 minutes ago. Oh, no, it did. So a little bells and chimes action going on at Atomic Age Modern. Yeah. Well, we're probably going to go to the arcade and get some work done. We're going to do that. To tell you the truth. That's what's going to happen. So we'll see you there. Yeah, right on. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to ask us any questions, you can do it via email. You can get in our Discord, or you can just come to the Electric Bat Arcade because we're most of the time always there. Absolutely. And I want to give a special shout out to Brandon, our bartender. Oh, man, we're going to miss him. What's he doing now? He is working for Southwest Airlines. Good deal. So he got a different job. He's still going to be working for us from time to time. He's not off the payroll. Right. But his regular schedule is being taken over by some awesome people that we are so excited to have working for us. Amber is going to be working during the week for us. And
Fantastic pinball player.
Yeah,
if you've seen our stream, you've seen Amber.
She's an incredible pinball player, so I'm excited to have her just even in the building a few more nights a week. And then also Sky, super cool, friendly.
Yes.
And she's also a great pinball player, fun pinball player. So
We're so fortunate.
yes. So Brandon, we will miss you. Welcome, Amber and Sky.
Yeah.
That's the switch up on the bat team right now.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, welcome to the family. Brandon, you're still in it.
Yeah, always. You can never leave. You can never fully leave.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and thanks again to everybody for all the Twippie votes.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's do it again next year. And for now, the bats are out.
Bats out.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.